Code. Okay. All right. So, JP, help me kind of, introduce yourself here. Like, what is, name, position, how long have you been with Westway Homes, and what did you do before all this?
Sounds good. My name is JP Rael. I am the VP of Operations and Sales for Westway Homes. Westway Homes is a local builder in the Albuquerque metro area. Westway Homes is a relatively new company. We've been in existence since 2018. I've been with Westway since day one, since we, put our business plan on notepads and scratched it out all the
Awesome.
way to today. And it's been a great learning experience for me. I started with Westway as the sales manager. And for a startup builder, sales manager usually meant working all weekend in a model home and then working all week managing all of the other stuff, building up our product line, really kind of identifying what our brand was going to be in the market. So I've had a really unique and good experience with Westway Homes. For me, it has been kind of the culmination of all of the things I've done up to this point, whether it was, having my own brokerage that specialized in resale, identifying the need for a real estate brokerage to participate on the selling side for new construction, kind of building up my identity as being a one-man brokerage that specialized in helping builders sell difficult communities, going in and taking that role with the builder, and just worked my way up. And my relationship with Mike Feets, who owns Westway Homes, grew to that. I knew at some point he was going to open up his own production building company, and I stayed in his ear for a long time. It was probably 3 or 4 years. Just, your typical, built my sales process and had my touches every 3 months on him. Hey, if you ever do something, I'm here. Hey, if you ever do something. And in September of 2017, he hit me and said, I'm doing something and you're my guy. And so we started together, and it's been a great experience for me. Like I said, tying in all of the parts of my career, even, as you and I spoke a few minutes ago, the coaching aspect that I have in my life, this position has really kind of brought in all of the elements of my past experience and tied them all together in a neat bow. So it's been good.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And then, so you guys are predominantly focused in kind of like what, like product and what location right now?
So we serve the Albuquerque metro area, all of the markets that are, touching to this. So Rio Rancho, Los Lunas to the south. Um, and really, we have pegged ourselves in the market as being a production builder, but a higher end, more amenitized production builder. We didn't want to be in the direct pool we are adjacent to, but we didn't want to be in the same pool with the DR Hortons and the Richmond Americans. Really kind of aligned ourselves more with, we looked at the nationals that are more amenitized as production builders. We do things like 10-foot ceilings and 8-foot doors and Bosch appliance packages as our standard. So we
Hmm.
really put ourselves in the market as kind of that move up option for the younger demographic, and maybe a move down for somebody who is downsizing but wants a highly amenitized product in a smaller community, going from 3,800 square feet down to 2,500 square feet, but still wants the feel of a custom type home. So that's really how we've positioned ourselves in our market.
Awesome. And you kind of touched upon like what makes your product unique. What makes Westway Homes unique?
So, Westway Homes are unique attributes, I think, is really built on Mike Feets and his philosophy. He always says this day and day: we are going to do the right thing. If that means, we build something and it's not to the customer's liking, but it says that's how we're going to build it on our spec sheet, we go in and correct that. If it's somebody that's been out of warranty for a little bit, but it's certainly something that was the result of, our construction process, we're going to go and take care of those. So we really try to position ourselves as a customer service and doing the right thing type company.
Yeah.
And that applies whether it's working with our customers who buy our homes, our trades that we work with, our employees, that's really how we've kind of identified ourselves. And while WestWay Homes is the name of our company, we often talk about doing things the West way, right? What is the West way? And Mike constantly says it's doing the right thing. And so that's kind of how we've pegged ourselves from a marketing and branding standpoint.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, and probably, news to a lot of people's ears, especially after the financial crisis of, 08, 09. Like that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that trust in that builder. All right, so I want to shift gears here. So you currently partner with NterNow. I want to dig a little bit more into that. So how long have you guys been using NterNow at this point?
So we are just coming up on our 1 year anniversary with NterNow. Um, it was not our relationship with NterNow was not our first kind of introduction to the self-guided tour model. We used another vendor and had mixed results with it. Our introduction to NterNow came from a partner who integrates with NterNow, and they recommended our move to you guys, and it has absolutely changed, revolutionized, whatever the right word is. It has been a major impact on how we do business. It has changed it. It has revolutionized it. It has streamlined it. It has made it more efficient. All of those adjectives that describe things in a positive manner, NterNow has done for our sales process.
All right, so let's dig in. I can't have you throw around these adjectives without digging into them. So you're saying revolutionize, you're saying all these big words. Like, what does that actually mean for you and your team? Like, how have things changed, or what have you changed internally because of the system?
The biggest change for us, and when I brought back the Enter Now concept, the self-guided tour to my sales team, those that had been in the business for a while, they were afraid. They're like, "Oh, this is the end of us."
Hmm.
And I assured them that it might be, but it's only the end of you if you allow it and you fail to adapt, right? So it has changed. One of the biggest changes that we've seen and that I think is, I'm going to say, the most valuable part of this. I'm going to probably say it 10 times for different things. So, but one of the most valuable things for us is just the validating and verifying the accuracy of the contact info for a prospect.
Hmm.
The fact that somebody comes up and does a self-guided tour and has to enter in their phone number and their email address, and it is checked and cross-referenced, we now know we have valid information on them that then integrates with other sales processes that we have, whether it's the Novi Home app, then pushes into our CRM automatically. We know that the second they register for that Enter Now self-guided tour, we have a valid prospect that is now in our system. What we found with our walk-in traffic, say with our sales pros manning an office, is I would, and this is a guess, I would say 70% of those buyers gave us inaccurate phone numbers or email addresses that prevented us from actually doing follow-up. Enter
Wow.
Now has just changed the the accuracy of a prospect, right? Like they are now legit prospects that are in our drip, whether they're a cold prospect, a warm prospect, or a smoking hot one. We have the ability to work them now for 12 months, 18 months, because they give us accurate information.
Yeah, yeah. And I've heard that kind of across the board in terms of like, oh, we don't have to ghost hunt anymore. It's just the lead is the lead, and we know that there's someone warm on the other side because they can't fake it.
Sure.
Uh,
And, one of the things that we've really done, and my sales force has been cut in half since we went to self-guided tours. I can now have one person work two communities because the specs and the model homes are always available. Our model homes all have very prominent signage, from hanging signs that look like your normal real estate signs in front, to graphics on the windows with the QR codes for registering. So our models are prominently displayed with Enter Now registration stuff. And my salespeople have gotten in the habit of keeping doors locked
Mm.
and almost forcing the pre-registration of ups even when they're manning a sales office because of the accuracy of the information that they have to put in there. And then once they see and they get the notification that they've pushed through, then they'll go open the door and walk them through like a normal up. But it takes away that element of them giving you inaccurate information on a reg card.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And I want to touch upon your signage because you guys do have something pretty unique. So I've seen some examples of your signage. It looks exactly like a normal for sale from like a brokerage side. And you guys have completely white labeled it. It's all Westway branding, all Westway logos and colors and all that. What's been the difference for you guys? Like, have you found that the signage, like being completely white labeled, has made a difference for you guys?
It has. So we don't know different. You know, we've never used a different type of signage. So we believe it's been very good for us. About 90% of our NterNow traffic right now comes off of sign registrations. So we feel pretty good about our self-branded signage with the NterNow and the QR codes, kind of the look and the way it stands out with our messaging and branding has
Mm.
done a great job for us in attracting people to stop. People just you know, what I love about it is you'll have your sales office on one block and you have a finished spec up on another block. And, you know, everybody who's sold new home, you get the drivers that slow roll by the model. They don't want to stop because somebody's in there and they drive around and then they slow roll again and they slow roll again and they pass
Yeah.
through. Well, what we found is when we have specs a block or two away that
Mm.
aren't in view, the signage attracts them in, and right away they'll go in, do a self-guided tour. And so we're picking up traffic that we didn't think we were going to get. And that's all off of our signage, right?
Yeah.
We do a freestanding, you know, it's an 18 by 36 sign that hangs off of a white T-post in the yard as a yard sign. And then we
Yeah.
also do window graphics on our specs and models that have, you know, a colorful image of people in one of our homes with, you know, self-guided tour information, tour now on your own at your, and we have a bunch of, you know, kind of catchy little snarky phrases, marketing
Yeah.
terms we use that is kind of our brand.
Yeah, and I love that you guys have completely made it your own. That's what we hope to have builders do. You touched a little bit upon like the feedback from your sales team. Can we talk a little bit more about, you know, initially they said, "Oh, it's coming for our jobs," and I know you mentioned that, you know, your sales team is 50% kind of smaller from what it was originally. What has been kind of the feedback from your sales team today with Enter Now?
Well, so it's a difficult thing because you know, any change to how we go about our sales processes are always thought of as a threat,
Mm,
right? Whatever oh, it's changing my job. They're coming after mine. And that's the wrong mentality. So what I really tried to do was change how my sales pros and me myself presented the information, because
mm,
the reality is our industry is based on how adaptable you are. Our market conditions change almost instantly, and we
yep,
have to be able to address whatever the new market conditions. The technologies you and I have seen over the last, you know, 5 years, we're totally
yeah,
different now from a CRM, self-guided tour app, whatever you use to prospect your database has changed drastically. And
mm,
so for the sales pros, their mindset has to be, I have to accept this, adapt to it, and figure out how to make it work because this is the direction we're going. And if you have that mindset and the ability to see the power and the potential in the technology that's put in front of you, you're going to succeed. If you don't accept it and you fight it and you don't adapt to the power that it gives you, right? You're going to lose that battle. This goes way back to, I want to say it was 15, 17 years ago
mm,
when Zillow first came into the market, right?
yep,
And the real estate market fought Zillow. And I
yeah,
had one guy stand up at a presentation. He says, "Why are you guys fighting this? It's not going away."
right,
And then you had, you know, ultimately so you can fight it early and waste your time, or you
yeah,
can accept it, adapt to it, and use it as a tool to help you be more successful. And
yeah.
that mindset is what we all had to take on, right? And so those that accepted it, adapted to it, and bought into it, helping them sell more houses, make more money as individual sales pros, but help us as a company sell more and be more profitable, now we have, the results that we're looking for.
Yeah, and from a buyer standpoint, like cat's out of the bag, right? Like buyers know that this exists, and now this seems to be their preference.
It
Yeah.
100%. I think I talked to you when we were at IBS about just the number of our people they pushed into our CRM. Our
Mm.
number right now is, it's pretty close to 90% come through NterNow registrations.
Wow.
Whether we're forcing them to by our sales pros, kind of keeping models locked off until they register, or
Yeah.
just our, sign drawn
Normal.
in,
Yeah.
people driving through the neighborhood checking it out. And then we also market on our socials the self-guided tour concept. So we put it out on our socials, IG, Facebook, and they're out there advertising that people can do this. And we are really the only builder in our market that is utilizing self-guided tours to the extent that we are. Everybody else is kind of dabbling in it, but we're
Yeah.
all, we're
Yeah.
cannonball right off the high.
Yeah. Yeah. So you touched upon it a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit more about the numbers. So I know you guys do a pretty good job of tracking everything. Let's talk like ROI. Have you guys started tracking like the number of conversions that have come through here? Do you have some numbers kind of run through?
We we do that. They've dipped a little bit. We saw a strong start to the year in
Yeah.
January, and our numbers have dipped a little bit through February. Um, our numbers right now are just under 500 on NterNows, and I think a in a big perspective, that number freaked me out at first. I
Yeah.
thought, 500, we've got to do better than this. But I think we've seen a change in the market, and the conversion time in general
Mm.
has extended out a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but the reality is, the self-guided tour person is the ultimate, I think, in the sales process, because we're getting those people at the very, very first part of, I think I want to look at a new home.
Mm.
Right. And so now and what we found is somebody does a self-guided tour, registers through NterNow, and it usually is probably around the second or third time that they come back that we actually make contact and they respond to a text message, a phone call, an email, and
Yeah.
then we get them engaged, are able to set up an appointment. So that goes back to the mindset of the salesperson, right? Understanding that, not getting discouraged when you can't get them while they're in the house, because there's a
Yeah.
reason they're doing a self-guided tour. They don't want to be bothered, right?
Right.
And that persistence of putting them in your sales process, doing your diligent follow-up, and knowing that somewhere between touch 4 and 8 is where you're actually going to get them, engage with them, and be able to set up an actual appointment to meet them and show them our product.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear. I mean, it's one of those old adages in sales that like it takes 8 touch points to sell something, and
Mhm.
yet how many people are giving up before that, right?
Right.
And
Right.
it's just, sales 101. You just got to stay in front of them sometimes.
For sure.
Awesome to hear that.
And for us, it's a big change too. We have never utilized an OSC.
Hmm.
And so really this has changed my whole mindset, and I'm in the process of developing my OSC, because to me, that is our missing link now, is
Hmm.
that persistent, diligent follow-up, setting up the appointments. We have obviously our CRM that, engages them that way off of our auto emails and all that stuff. But I think my missing link is that OSC that focuses on every prospect
Yeah, the
consistently
nurturer.
over time
Yeah.
until we get them in, right? And doesn't give up after 45 days.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The long-term nurture is sometimes the play for these buyers, because like you said, it's you're capturing them so early in the home buying process. And as we all know, we've seen it in Consumer Housing Trend Report from Zillow and the Redfin ones. Like it can sometimes be a 9-month process. But if you're capturing them early enough, you just again have to stick in front of them. I want to talk a little bit about, we try to prize ourselves on not just being a product provider, but a true partner of yours. Can you walk through a couple of examples of like how has NterNow customize things for you, or how have we kind of been more of a partner from you than just a product provider?
Yeah, so this, and again, I think it's the way as a local builder, right? So we're a builder that's going to live in the realm of 60 to 100 closings a year.
Hmm.
I think in our minds we'd love to do 150, but I don't think we're built for it. So we're finding that sweet spot. And so relationships are really the key to our business. How can we function, operate, close, build, all of those things like the big players in our market, and it's doing it off relationships with companies like you guys. NterNow, from the very beginning when I reached out to Barrett, just the level of walking us through the conversion from our previous self-guided tour to you guys,
Hmm.
building out the information on our website, customizing our signs and giving them a very, WestWay branded look, but still functioning within the NterNow. Those things, that process has been simple. Anytime we, have any kind of technical issue, I mean, we get an instant phone call, email response correcting it for us. So those have been, the real kind of generic basic things. But for us, it is identifying the things, and it was our introduction to you guys that I think set this up for us. Novi Homes recommended you guys as
Yeah.
we integrate very well, or Novi integrates very well with your platform.
Yep.
That was a huge thing. And then in Vegas, you guys, kind of discussing with you some of the things, the problems that we were having. We don't have a ton of self-guided tour registration off of our website. It's a very weak, broken website, and I was telling you guys those problems. And what did you guys do? You walked us to the next partner that integrates with your platform and the other platforms that we use. And now we are on our way to building a new website and having something that functions the way it should. And to me, those are the most valuable things. How we integrate all of the different sales processes that we have, and then having partners that will guide us in the direction that they know what our business needs. And that's been the biggest thing between Westway Homes and NterNow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, happy to do it. We are very much of the same mindset of like do business the right way. This is how we would want to be treated as well. What's next for, how you guys want to leverage the system? Like, what would you like to see from Enter Now side?
Yeah, so my big thing is the three questions, right, that are posed to the buyer at registration. I knew there was a level of customization to those, and
Hmm.
so we set that up originally. Then conversations with you guys in Vegas, and that's the real value of Vegas to me. It's no longer for production builders to go find actual construction tools. It's really the value in Vegas is the technology side for
Hmm.
builders like us, and just having the real discussion of like, oh, I wish I could get this information, this uh, question asked to the buyers, and you guys saying, okay, well, you can customize those further. So that's the next step for us. We're working on the list of questions that will really help us, one, qualify our buyers, see where they came from, and really set up that next level of communication with them. I think asking that person on a self-guided tour how they'd like to be followed up with, what that communication should be, is really kind of a key to them. So that's where we're headed next. And hopefully we'll have those changes in the next week or two.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so I want to kind of wrap this all up. If you were talking to somebody like a peer that was thinking about self-touring, like how would you kind of position kind of like the value proposition for them? And then how would you recommend they actually kind of do that first dip of their toes to start getting involved?
Yeah. So again, if we're talking about a production builder, I think the value proposition is that I don't even know how much Enter Now costs me because I don't care. Because it has changed our business so much that I don't worry about my monthly invoices. I know what they are, right? But they are, it is such an integral part of how we conduct our sales business that it doesn't matter. So that's the value proposition right there. That's what you need to know, that it does so much for you than the actual cost of it. I recommend Enter Now to builders all the time. It is, like I said previously, it will change how you do business, and it will capture more leads for you. There is no question about it. How you dip your toes in it, I would recommend anybody with finished spec inventory to put one on it. and see. In 30 days, you will be in 30 days, you will have 20 to 25 prospects go through that single spec home. And for us, that's how we did it. We started with just one spec home in each community that we had, and we put it on there, and the numbers were crazy. Then I said, well, let's put it on the model, see what it does with
Mm,
the model. We put it on the model, our model home traffic. And what's interesting is our numbers, the people come through typically when we're closed, right?
yeah.
And now, while my salespeople were, and I'm going in big circles here, while my salespeople were concerned about it eliminating their job, all it did was capture more and protect their job, because now they have prospects that they would normally lose, right?
Mm,
They normally wouldn't capture that prospect. So the guy at 7:30 at night that just dropped the kids off after basketball practice, and he pops in there to take a look at the house, he's your guy,
yeah.
right? You didn't miss him. And so just that explanation of trying it on a spec, pushing it into your model home, once you see the numbers and the traffic that you generate from there's no question on how it will change your business. For us, I think in the first 90 days, we were capturing a number of prospects and leads. But I was frustrated by the conversion, and mentally I was doing the mental gymnastics of, well, these are terrible leads. They're not good leads. We're not converting them. But once we hit that 120 day mark, we saw
Mm,
some them come back. We saw some closings and some closing them to get to contract and moving them forward in the process. And so that challenge is getting through those first 90 days, developing that batch of first prospects, and then diligently working them through your sales process and getting to that 120 days and seeing them start to convert.
awesome. Well, thank you, JP. Is there anything that we kind of missed that you want to talk about?
You know,
If not, we're good.
you can tell I'm pretty shy.
No, I
Who knows?
really
You got enough
appreciate it,
stuff
man.
there. But
It's
no,
been awesome.
honestly, it's been awesome. And again, you guys know the relationship parts to me are integral. Talking to you guys and having you introduce me to Beth and working with Beth and her saying you guys are great. And then telling Beth that we also use Novi, and Beth says, oh, I love Novi. And Novi says,
Yep.
we love
Yep.
NterNow. That whole confluence of integrated technology is
Yeah.
really a great system for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not going to stop the recording, but we can kind of go off script here. So it's nice because like it's so wonderful to kind of be like a Switzerland and be able to work so well with other vendors when so much of it's like, hey, you're stealing marketing dollars from us and they don't work well together. Where in fact, like we know we're not going to be the most expensive thing out there and we know the ROI is there. So like, yeah, we probably could raise our rates, but we're not going to because we want to continue being that partner that is just kind of trusted by everybody. So being able to say, hey, every lead that comes through, they automatically get a Novi profile.
Right.
Every lead that comes through, like we can trigger them through your Novi plans or through the Anugo plans. Like that can actually tell them that there's a self-guided tour for that floor plan where it's available.
Right.
So having that ecosystem all work well together, and like Barrett talks to John Lee all the time. Like they're doing a whole AI thing soon. Like we talk to Cody nonstop. So it's nice to also have that from the vendor side. Like I know you guys kind of only see a part of it, but that is kind of how we interact with them. Like Beth is giving me a whole rundown. I talked to Anya earlier today. Beth is giving me a rundown on Monday of their new websites and what that looks like. So it's just, yeah, it's nice to have kind of like those vendor friends that we also like work really well with.
Yeah. Yeah. My next step, in looking for recommendations from you guys, once we get through, I think we're going to be 30 to 45 days in our Nugo website development
Yeah.
here, and
Yeah.
we should be up and going. But my next thing is looking at like, do you convert or some kind of OSC outsourced system that we can use, because I don't know that I can find an OSC here that will work. Like,
Yeah.
we just moved to a fractional CFO 2 months ago, and that
Okay.
has been the biggest change of our business. We use a guy out of Atlanta,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean, the fractional side of the business is getting big. So we're good friends with Jennifer Cooper. She's a fractional marketing executive. She does it for like Visionary Homes and a handful of others. Um, I would say the two ones to look at from your standpoint are New Homestar and DYC for the OSC side. New Homestars, I think they're doing like basically like 3 to 5 hours after hours every night and then the
Mhm.
weekends. And they have a team of 3 people. So it's not just one person that might get overwhelmed if it's busy, but they
Right.
kind of rotate all 3 of them will know your product. Um, and they're like building that out. So it's very cheap right now because they're like kind of piloting it. So
Right.
if you're interested on that side, Eric Fickey is a good friend, so I could, give him your info.
Yeah.
Um, Okay. And then yeah, the DYC crew is like that's kind of like the gold standard, right? Like
Right.
they create all the they create all the materials for them. Like that's the training that they do. It's kind of similar to like the Jeff Shore stuff.
Yep.
And it's just, Leah Fellows is a great OSC trainer. The shared drive team is also really good. So Sherry and uh forget who it is over at Share Drive with her. But they have a whole OSC kind of program as well. So
Nice.
if you're starting to look into that, I can make a few recommendations for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Um, but like I said, man, thank you so much for doing this. This is super helpful for us. Especially I actually, so I've only been here close to a year now. I actually didn't know that you were doing was it U tour previously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know you came over from them. So
Yeah. And I probably, because Coy has been he's wanted me to be very careful because it was in Vegas 24 where I'm
right.
like, look, it would be awesome if we could get our self-guided tour thing to pop into the app. And he's like, well, we don't have that integration with them. And
Yeah.
he goes, and he walked me over oh, no, no, no. He gave me the contact and I reached out to Barrett right then. Uh,
Gotcha. Okay.
and he was like, I can't upset these guys, and
Yeah.
I love the way NterNow functions. It's
Yeah.
a significantly easier functioning product than UTour.
Yeah, yeah. And they're built two completely different ways. Like they're built on like windows of time. Like ours was completely because we were built around COVID, it was all on demand. Uh,
Mhm.
so the fact that like we don't even have windows, you can just tour on demand, that alone has been a huge saver for us. But yeah, I don't think I've lost a deal to UTour since I've been here. So not only do we beat them on the pricing, but like the support, the way that we're structured, all of that has helped.
For
So,
sure.
um,
For
but yeah,
sure.
let me give you a little bit of time back again. Thank you so much, JP. I really appreciate it.
Anytime I can help you, let me know. If you have builders considering it, you want to send my way, just have them give me a call.
Okay, will do. Well, I will be rooting for Stephen F. Austin and Montana State here
Let's
coming up.
go.
Let's
And
go,
UCLA.
baby.
Take
All
care.
right, take care. Bye.